Hello, my name's Julian Edgar and I'm the author of the book you see in front of you, Do-It-Yourself Custom Curved Interior Trim Panels for Cars. So what's all this about? Well, it's about making your own trim panels that will conform to compound curves and other shapes, and it uses a completely unique approach. I've never seen anyone do it in the way that I'm about to describe in this video, and obviously what is covered in much more detail in the book. So here's an example of the starting point. This is the interior of one of my cars. It's a little Honda Insight, and I had removed a lot of the equipment from the back, so the original trim panels no longer fitted. Now if you have a look, you can see there's a protrusion here, there's a panel that sticks out here, there's a fuel filler line here, there's also a curve here that the panel would need to fit under, and it would also need to fit into this shape. So what did it look like after I had made my compound curved interior trim panel? Well, here it is. Now, what this doesn't show is how much there is a curvature in this panel. Look at how the grille is inset. Look how the light is inset. Look at the curve that matches here. Remember, that has to pass over the fuel filler, and yet it looks quite standard and quite factory. So how did I do it? How do you make these panels without spending hundreds of hours carving polystyrene or trying to make them out of fiberglass, making molds and all of that terribly slow approach? Well, let me show you. First up, you have two different types of foam. You have a firmer foam here, and you have a soft foam here. And you make a sandwich. You cut this roughly to shape. Doesn't have to be perfectly to shape. You cut it roughly to shape. You make a sandwich which comprises this firmer foam and this softer foam, and then something we're going to put in between those two layers of foam in a moment. You spray water on the firm foam before you wrap it in the soft foam, and then you wrap the soft foam around the back, what will become the back edges of the firm foam, and staple it into place. Then between the two layers of foam you squirt in liquid foam. Now that liquid foam is going to be able to conform to all the different shapes that you want. You use a roller to spread the liquid foam between the two layers of the other foam, so in fact the liquid foam is spread evenly, and then you wrap the whole assembly in cling film. This stops any leakage of foam, which otherwise is almost impossible to get off your car, and it also traps the moisture inside the sandwich, and that moisture, remember the water we sprayed earlier, that helps the liquid foam to cure. You then place the assembly in the car. Now remember, it's flexible. It's been cut roughly to shape, it's flexible, and so you can fit it around all of the curves, including compound curves, curves in two directions at once. You can fit it under the edge here, for example, of the window trim, and it will conform to the shapes there, and of course the shapes that are all behind. And that's the key part. You can have a smooth outer face and yet a bumpy inner face that conforms to all of those obstructions. You then hold it in place while the liquid foam cures, and you can see I've made an indent for where that grille is going to go by just pushing it into the foam and then holding it with a weight and a piece of wood. And here I've made a flat area where the light's going to go just by again pushing it with a piece of wood, and you can see I can extend this piece of wood by having the two slide past one another and then clamp it in place. You monitor it. See how that's sticking out a bit? That will be pushed back in. You monitor it as the foam cures, and you end up with a sandwich which I've sliced in half here, which is the firm foam on the inside, the liquid foam that's cured obviously in the middle, and then the soft foam on the outside. You then simply cover the panel in carpet. Stretch carpet is being used here. Remember, the stretch carpet is going over the soft foam, so it's got a nice soft feel touch, feels very standard, very factory. And then you have a finished job. It's covered in a lot more detail in the book, including using triple foam sandwiches as well as, hex foam sandwiches, as well as just the triple foam sandwiches, and also making flat panels like you can see there. The book's called Do-It-Yourself Custom Curved Interior Trim Panels. Good for kick panels, good for rear panels. Even if you want to do an extreme change, you can make a completely new shaped door panel, interior door panel. My name's Julian Edgar. Thanks for listening.